Let's now talk about our membrane layer, or layers, and how that comes into play when we create patterns. So I have our structure, and I'm in the model environment, and I'm about to come down to the pattern environment. But first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off all of the element types I don't need to see. And for patterning, we really only need to see our membrane elements. So I'm going to turn off my struts, I'm going to turn off my cables, and I'm also going to go ahead and turn off my geodesics. So now the only thing I'm looking at are my membrane elements. So let's go over and click on the pattern environment. And as soon as I do, you're going to notice that all of my membrane elements get highlighted gray. So let's click on pattern, and there we go. They've been highlighted in gray. And actually, I'm going to switch over to the white background because for this demonstration, it's easier to see the gray with the white background. Now what's happening here is whenever you go to the pattern environment, NDN will take you to the first layer that contains any membrane elements and highlight that layer in gray. And the reason that's important is because in NDN, you can only create patterns on a layer of membrane elements that's selected, which means that it's highlighted. In this case, all of our membrane elements are on the same layer. You can see right here that that's layer 5. So for this particular example, we could create patterns across this entire structure right now with no problem. However, when you get into bigger, more complicated models, you're going to want to break sections of your membrane up into different layers and pattern those section by section. So just for example, let's go ahead and put this in a top view, and I'm going to quickly break this into 2 separate layers just to show you what I'm talking about. So let's now go back to the model environment. I'm going to jump back to the black and then come down and click on the layer management button. So once I get in here, I can click on my layer 5 and see that all of my membrane elements are on layer 5. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to make a new layer, a layer 7, and I'll just title this fabric right to be the right side of my structure. Okay, and I'm going to assign this to my membrane elements by window, and I'm going to grab all the membrane elements on the right side of my structure. Right click again, go ahead and click finish. So now, if I jump back to the white background and I come down to the pattern environment, you can see that all the membrane elements on the left side of my structure are on our layer 5, or I can scroll up to layer 7, and all of the membrane elements on the right side of my structure are now on our new layer 7. So it's important to remember that going forward, when you want to create patterns, you can only create patterns across membrane elements when the layer that those elements are on is selected, which means highlighted in gray. So with this piece of information, we should be good to go and we can start creating our patterns.